You're watching the Chaos Protocol on Transplanar RPG, an all-transgender, people of color-led dark fantasy TTRPG show set in an original non-colonial, anti-Orientalist multiverse. If you like what you see, please consider pledging to our Patreon to support the show and get access to a patron-only after-show, early podcast episodes, GM notes, character sheets, and even the chance for your tabletop OC to cameo in our series. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy. The Chaos Protocol is a dark fantasy series that may contain content that is triggering for some viewers. Content warnings for this episode include fantasy violence, vampirism, complex relationships, romance, flirting, ghosts, memory loss, possession, water and depths, complex relationships, blood, gore, and references to guns and drowning. Arc 3, Episode 16, Her Will Come Undone. From Praying Beside the Teeth That Killed Me, by Connie Chang. Strike Team Nova! It's time for your coterie's first ever errand. An errand is a special mission, scheme, or series of tasks that supports the goals of your house. You're currently in talks with Thakrar, but you haven't formally claimed a house, so this errand isn't going to reward you any influence, which measures the sway you hold within your house. However, the outcome of this errand might add or remove favor with other houses, depending on how things play out. It will also affect your exposure track. Errands involve every single member of the party. They are not solo tasks. That is what differentiates them from free play and from downtime. The outcome of your errands will determine if your house or coterie advances in Inferno or falls behind. When you embark on a new errand, you must first agree on your coterie's plan of approach. Each plan of approach comes with a unique detail you'll need to flesh out before we even begin. There are 6 plans of approach in Court of Blades. They are: Assault, a full frontal attack, guns blazing, teeth bared. The detail you must decide is the target of your looming massacre. Deception, smoke and mirrors, deflection and distraction, bravado and bluster. The detail you must decide is the method of your charade, the primary vehicle of your artifice. Stealth, quiet as the night, dark as shadow, no one will ever know you were there. Ideally. The detail you must decide is the entry point, the crack in the armor that you'll slip through. Arcane, the full might of darkness at your side. Magic shall see you through. The detail you must decide is tradition, the legacy of the rituals or spells that you are invoking. Social, networking, ass-kissing, fraternizing, ladder climbing. The detail you must decide is the connection you'll pull on, the one who knows the ones you need to know. And finally, transport. Location, location, location. It's all about the map and the journey. The detail you must decide is the route, the treacherous path you'll take to reach your mark. Your plan of approach describes your overall intentional strategy for this errand, but it does not prescribe the actions you can or can't take when you're actually doing the thing. This is just the plan your coterie agrees upon at the outset. No one really knows what might actually happen when shit hits the fan. So, Strike Team Nova. We're not gonna play out a planning scene here. In fact, Court of Blades discourages us from doing so. If we want to establish specific tactics or preparations, we can invoke flashbacks during the errand itself. For example, if you run into security cameras, one of you can declare that you actually hacked the cameras before you got there. This would invoke a flashback which we would play out and resolve to see how successful you were in the past. Back to the plan of approach. Which strategy and detail do the 4 of you agree on in the wee hours before you meet up with Mav and Bo? Is it assault, deception, stealth, arcane, social, or transport?
Probably stealth, yeah?
Stealth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes most sense. You're literally breaking
Nova's
into the
aligned.
Something that we're
okay.
also famously great at. Yeah.
Of course. Subtlety.
So the detail you need to decide is the point of entry, right? Stealth, You have to sneak in, you have to learn as much as you can about Thakrar, get out without being caught. So how will you try to get into the ICMA in the first place? Through the front doors, through a side door, a service entrance, down through the roof? The only limitation to your entry point is your coterie's plausible knowledge of its existence, given the access you have to resources and the time you have before you meet up with Mav and Bo.
Xainan is always inclined to take a side door, so that would be
Okay.
my first instinct.
Any objections or other ideas?
If Seir ever had an idea, it's just kick things down. So if Xainan has a better pathway, he's just gonna listen to Xainan here.
It says subtle in the approach.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, because anything else that I could think of, or Lumièra could think of, would require some type of prior knowledge of it being there.
Yeah, like
So-
blueprints or like a
Yeah.
connection who can tell you the layout.
Mhm.
Yeah, you don't have that right now. Yeah. Okay, so your plan is to maybe sneak in through a side door, just like not through the front doors of the ICMA. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, excellent. Now that we've decided the plan of approach and the detail, it is time to choose your individual loadouts. This is how much gear each of you is carrying on your person during the errand. So while you're running the errand, you have access to every single item and piece of gear on your playbook sheet. If you look at the sheet, there's a little column to the right, there's a ton of stuff on it, including armor. So at any time, you can tick off one of these items and declare that you brought it with you. For example, if we run into yet another werewolf at the ICMA, you can say, I shoot it with my gun and my 3 silver bullets, and tick off your gun and your 3 silver bullets on your playbook sheet. However, the number of times you can do this is limited by your loadout. There are 3 tiers of loadout: discreet, loaded, and encumbered. Discreet lets you tick between 1 and 3 boxes per errand. Loaded lets you tick up to 6 boxes. Encumbered lets you tick as many boxes as you want. If you have a discreet loadout, you can move quickly, you aren't conspicuous, and you can easily blend into the crowd. If you have a loaded loadout, you look like a specialist on an errand. You look like trouble. You stand out, you are conspicuous, and people can easily remember you if they see you. If you are encumbered, you can only move extremely slowly, and you are bogged down by all the crap that you're bringing with you. Generally speaking, just above the table, you don't want to pick encumbered unless you have a special playbook trait that lets you do so with ease. So you also want to pay close attention to how many boxes each piece of gear takes up in your inventory. Some can be unlocked with a single tick, others require 2 ticks or even 3, which might use up your entire loadout if you have a discreet one. This is important because you cannot tick more boxes than your declared load. So if you go with the discreet load, use up all 3 boxes early in the errand, that's it. You're done, you have nothing else on you, you have to rely on your wits and your skills to carry you through the mission. So with all of that in mind, what's everyone's loadout?
Discreet.
Okay, so up to 3. Okay, for Lumièra.
Discreet as well.
Up to 3 for Seir. Okay. Xainan.
Loaded. Always.
Jesus fucking Christ.
You got
I
that
would expect
gun on
nothing
you.
else, honestly. I would expect
Yeah.
nothing else.
So Lumièra and
What's he
Seir look
supposed to
like
do?
civilians.
Go without things? Absolutely not.
Love that. Okay, as long as we all know what that means and what that looks like. Okay. So, we're finally ready to get started on our first ever errand. It is time for our first ever engagement roll. This roll will determine your coterie's starting position in the errand. If your starting position is desperate, that means you're in a really bad place when the action begins. Shit has already hit the fan. If your starting position is risky, you're not in the thick of trouble, but it's right around the corner. If your starting position is controlled, everything is going according to Keikaku, according to plan, when you get started. If you crit this roll, your starting position is controlled, if you crit this roll, your starting position is controlled, and you've already overcome the first obstacle. So as the game master, I'll make the engagement roll, but the number of dice in your pool is going to depend on a series of questions. You start with 1d6 in the pool for the sheer audacity of your crew. And now we get to answer together these questions. Is this errand particularly bold and daring?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're breaking into our allies' like home base.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Definitely.
all right. 2d6 in the pool so far. All right, y'all have to help me track this because I will forget.
I got
Is this errand overly complex or contingent on luck or outside factors?
I don't think so.
Not necessarily. Kind of, and not really.
We are the arbiters of our own goddamn fate here, honestly.
Okay, I will accept that. Yeah, you're not like expecting other people to do it for you. You have a lot of agency here. Okay, so that means you don't minus 1 dice from the pool. Does the plan leverage one of your coteries' strengths?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say yeah.
I
Yeah.
would.
Okay, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to
We're
y'all.
lying to the spiders. What's more spider than that?
Well, but also
Okay.
like we go into unknown territory all of the time at this point, and that is really what we're doing is like
And we
venturing
have
into
Ying
the
He.
unknown.
And we have you.
Who's stealthy, who's very stealthy. That's very true. Okay, 3d6 so far. Is your target strongest against this approach, or are they prepared for this eventuality? I'm gonna say yes. The spiders
Definitely.
are very prepared to be infiltrated or betrayed. I'm gonna knock 1d down, that's 2d6. Can friends or contacts provide aid or insight into this errand? Yeah,
Yes.
Bo and Mav are literally
Yeah.
helping you, so that's another d, that's 3d6. Are enemies or rivals interfering in this errand? No,
I
so
hope
we
not.
don't minus 1d.
Hope
Nope.
not.
Will this errand endanger or reflect poorly on one of your paramours?
Oh shit. I mean, I have a
Wait,
paramour.
You have a
It
But
might-
mechanically-
not mechanically, so we're gonna say this doesn't apply. You could doesn't
Great.
count as
I was like,
doesn't count
wait.
as paramour yet. Yes, but yeah, we don't have to worry about that right now. The other question is also about paramours, so it doesn't apply. I'll say it anyway, so we know what it is. Will you allow your paramour or their reputation to complicate this errand? Doesn't apply here, but that's a juicy question. Are any of you well fed? Okay, that doesn't affect it. It's okay.
Not even in the slightest.
No.
Are any of you hungry?
Oh fuck.
I'm
That's all of
definitely-
us.
I'm
Okay.
more than hungry.
Mine's
Okay,
the
are any of
worst
you
one.
ravenous? Which one?
I am
Hungry or
ravenous.
ravenous?
I'm
Are all of you
ravenous.
ravenous?
No, I'm
Yeah,
hungry.
just the two of us. We're at a
Okay.
-1 now.
Yep. So hungry minus 1d per hungry vampire. That's Seir. We only have 2d6. Ravenous is minus 2d per ravenous vampire. So down 2 for Xainan and down 2 for Lumièra. That's a -2 in the pool.
What the fuck?
We're doing
Yep.
great.
Okay. So you can't roll with negative dice. What this means is I will roll 2d6 and take the lower result. Okay?
Great.
Oh,
Alright, here we
great.
go. The first roll is a 6.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
The second roll is a 4. So we're gonna cut
Okay.
the 6 and take the 4. That's risky. Okay, risky position. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Walk it off,
bad.
walk it off, Nova. Walk it off.
Okay.
Walk it off. All right. Beauregard Thorn stalks through the recluse gallery of the ICMA like a panther on the prowl. The beam from their flashlight cuts across this darkened space, pausing on various art pieces as they stride purposefully forward. The rest of you, Mav included, don't need Beau's flashlight. The paltry starlight in this space is more than enough for your undead eyes to drink in every single detail. The concrete floors, the stone walls, the vast vaulted ceiling that reaches for the stars visible through clear glass windows dozens of feet above your heads. Wooden beams form intricate, latticed partitions, separating the gallery into different sections, each with its star piece surrounded by other, lesser works, like constellations hovering around their dazzling nuclei. You see freestanding columns with precious objects on top, protected by glass cases, paintings with wooden frames and noble plaques, yarn work, sculptures, prints, projected films. The Recluse Gallery is a paragon of modernity and tradition, innovation and legacy, what will be and what was. It's also spotless. You are not the only ones with downtime, Strike Team Nova. Rhododendron Thakrar also has 2 downtime activities and chose to reduce exposure and acquire assets. They got a 6 to reduce exposure, and they got a double 6, a crit success, to acquire assets. So yes, the Recluse Gallery is spotless. There is not a single drop of blood on the ground or a single piece of art out of place. It doesn't look like a violent altercation or any altercation occurred here at all. It just looks like an art gallery, waiting for its final pieces to take up the blank spaces that remain on the walls. That's it. As for the results of your engagement roll, a 4, risky. This means that you're not immediately in trouble right now as you stalk through the gallery, but trouble will find you, guaranteed, and soon. Rhododendron Thakrar will be alerted to your presence in the Recluse Gallery. You're all pretty sure someone saw you or will report that you all snuck in through that side entrance if you don't hurry. So you have to be quick about this before the spiders catch you. How do each of you seek clues about Ren Shimizu's death in the Recluse Gallery, as well as House Thakrar's part in it?
Can I say, I don't know if I would need a flashback for this or not.
Okay, what are you trying to do?
I want a black light.
Oh, okay. You know what? If it's not on your gear, let's just say it counts as one piece of gear, and you can just have it on you.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I want a black light.
Great.
Lumièra will start scanning the floor with the black light. The blood might be cleaned up, but that doesn't mean that its remnants are completely gone yet.
Okay, you click on the black light and you start moving it over every single part of the floor, and so far you don't see anything out of the ordinary. You see your own footprints, right? As you came into this room, you see other people's footprints, presumably guests or curators from earlier in the day, but you don't see huge splatters yet. But you have yet to comb over every inch of the gallery. As you do that with the light, we pan over to Xainan. How are you seeking clues?
Xainan is sniffing. Trying to smell the blood that he hungers for so desperately that I am actively ravenous, and he knows that Ren was a vampire.
Okay. Because you're not using a tool necessarily here, I think how well this goes is up to, there's an element of risk, so I'm going to make you roll for it. What action would you like to invoke?
We're hunting. We're hunting for blood, specifically.
Okay, I'm going to say your position is controlled, and your effect is standard.
Yeah, that seems right. And at Ravenous, I'm rolling at a 0, so...
Oh, no. Yeah, that's a 2d6, and we'll take the lower.
Hey, but I rolled really well. That's 5.
Okay, excellent. Yes. Xainan, you sniff around, and the sound of you sniffing is also accompanied by the sound of Mav sniffing. In her human form, she's gotten down on all fours and is like sniffing the ground, looking up, pausing, and then sniffing and sniffing again, and muttering to herself. And you also notice Bo looking around as though they're looking for something. They're pausing every now and then and briefly closing their eyes as though trying to sense something, and then they shake their head and move on. But they're looking for something. They haven't found it yet. And then Xainan, as you sniff, you smell paint. You smell a little bit of dust. You smell wood. You smell cold stone and timber, and then you pick up on just the barest hint of bleach. Bleach was used here. Quite a lot of it, actually.
Someone cleaned.
We pan over to Seir. How are you looking for clues?
Seir's hunting for missing things. Yes, Rhododendron probably had time to clean up. Rhododendron had time to hide things. You can't hide everything. Not in a murder between two massive vampires, right? Something must have broken out. He's looking for tools, damage, debris, anything. Like any sort of like hidden implement that could...
Hidden implements.
That at least could figure out the location of where it happened, or where it could have been.
Okay. Why don't you also roll for me here? What action are you invoking?
Hunt. I'm tracking, baby.
Okay, I'm going to say your position is controlled and your effect is standard, as usual.
Okay. Wonderful. That is 3d6 for me because I get a +1 to Hunter Skirmish thanks to the gift of the moon.
Wait,
Without
just
moonlight.
generally? Without moonlight,
yeah,
because there's
generally,
no moonlight
yeah.
coming through the windows. Okay.
I get an additional D if it's made in a live moon, so...
Jeez, okay, nice.
I know.
Go for it.
It's okay because I'm hungry, so I have to ignore the top result anyway. Well, that's funny. That's a 5.
A 5, similar to Xainan. Okay.
I rolled 3 5s.
Wow!
I was like, that's very
done,
funny.
Seir.
Thanks, Seir.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job.
Good job, Seir.
Arc one
That's proud of
repeat,
you.
But like better.
Yeah, me too.
Not 3 1s or something.
I'm making it.
Okay.
I'm making it up for the Wild Sea. I'm making
You're
it up
redeeming
for the Wild
yourself. Seir, you and Lumièra reach the same conclusion at the same time. With the black light and with your sharpened senses, there is absolutely not a single hair out of place. Lumièra, you don't see any splatters of blood at all. You do see like a few splatters of like something, and then you like move the black light away and you realize it's like coffee, but that's like the closest thing to like a spill that hasn't been accounted for. There's no signs of a grisly massacre here whatsoever. Though Lumièra, you and Seir both also notice that there is a piece of the wall next to a huge, beautiful tapestry that Bo has stopped in front of that looks new. But you don't see any crumbled plaster or anything. It's just new. It's just a piece of wall that looks new.
Seir closes in onto that piece of wall to investigate it closer, and he's just like, "That's new." And he kind of like tilts his head to kind of like investigate it further. And he looks over. I think he clocks that Lumièra and himself are looking at the same thing.
Yeah,
Something.
Lumièra, your black light brought you there.
What do you see?
This is new. Here to hide something? Seal something off, maybe? And Seir, in his loadout that I ticked before we got to the scene, I have brought burglary gear, demolition tools, and subterfuge supplies.
So you don't have to declare what you brought beforehand. You can just decide you have it on hand. But if those are the things you want to declare right now,
that's what I clicked.
I love it.
So Seir looks at this wall, knows that we're on a time crunch, knows that Bo is looking for the ghost. Looks to Lumièra, and it's just like, we can either wait for the ghost to get here, or we can immediately try and find a clue here. And there's like, he like pats the demo tools that he has on hand.
You're muted, Samm.
You're muted, my love.
Lumièra looks at you so straight face and is like, absolutely not. And
I thought I'd ask.
She grits out that knot between her teeth, like growling it. Not.
Hang on. And then I want to knock on the wall. Does it sound hollow?
No, it does not.
It's filled in.
At this moment, Xainan walks up next to Bo and closes his eyes. He thinks about all of the times that he's reached out to ghosts now, something that was very familiar for a moment there. And he just tries to listen and feel what this person who can apparently speak to ghosts might be looking for.
Bo does not verbally acknowledge you yet when you approach them, but they have paused in front of this tapestry and they seem to have found a place. And they reach into their gear, their packs and their pouches, and they pull out salt, a palm full of it. They get down on their knees and they start making a circle marked in salt. And after they close the circle, they start like drawing in sigils with more grains of salt within it.
Xainan produces from his arcane implements, which in this case have been retooled to be his ridiculous amount of hunting equipment that is hanging off of his pouches and things, even further salt in like a very fine file that, looking at it, he realizes is probably made for this exact use of actually drawing things. And it's got like a very fine point, and he hands it out to Bo.
Bo takes the salt from you, like, without hesitating, and they bring it up to their face really closely, examining the granules. They sniff it. They glance back up at you, and they pause briefly in their ritual work. What hunter cell did you raid to get your hands on these?
I didn't.
Bo uses your salt to complete the circle and, like, finish inscribing letters onto the ground. And as they do, they say, you have a connection to them too, don't you? I can sense it.
Yeah. Ghost and I, well, let's just say I'm familiar.
Can you feel her presence too?
And Xainan filters the word her through 3 different faces before he even conjures Ren Shimizu. A young
Almost as though,
freckled face.
Almost as though sensing your mind when it reaches Ren, Bo says, not Ren. The other one. The other ghost that's here. Focus. Close your eyes. Tune out
And
my
Xainan
blood.
does it immediately.
Xainan,
And he,
I know I usually shouldn't tell people what to roll, but I would like you to channel for me.
oh jeez, this is gonna go as well as everything else.
Oh no!
At a 0, I'm rolling a -2. Here we go. Yeah, it's a 2.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Your position here is controlled. Whatever presence here is not hostile, and your effect here is standard. So with a 2, you don't get a name or a full manifestation or anything, but you do sense something. A presence. Nothing material, but just a presence. And it feels old, really old, centuries at least. Sad. Lost. Forgotten. And it's very interested in Bo. And what Bo's doing.
Someone else unburied, unmourned.
Yes. Unburied and unmourned. It's noticing me. The salt drew its attention here. It's stirring. But it needs more than that. A sacrifice. And without flinching, they pull out a small silver knife out of their harness and they cut their palm. And they start to dribble their own blood over the salt and wet it crimson. And you smell their blood suffusing the air as it happens in a spray.
Xainan clamps down his jaw. Now is not the time for this hunger that keeps on gnawing at him. This freedom that his body craves.
Bo is unflinching, even though they just cut their palm open and spilled their blood in front of a very hungry vampire. They seem completely confident they'll be able to take care of themselves if you lose control of your thirst. At this moment, we push back to Seir and Lumièra arguing over the finer points of this wall. Lumièra, as you turn your attention back to this formerly broken, now repaired, new piece of wall, that same feeling, that power, strains within you. There's kind of a as you look at this wall, and you see, for just a flash of a second, golden lines over a invisible crack in its surface, as your chronergy is straining inside you, wanting you to use it, trying to show you the past, what happened here, what time can reveal, but then those threads of fate bind you even closer, red hot, and then ice cold, and then red hot again, and that flash of gold subsides. How do you confront this pain?
I think, Seir, you hear her gasp
Lumièra?
again, and her body goes absolutely rigid, like it did prior to on the apartment's rooftop. And she tries to shake it off and loosen the tension in her body, and just briefly, you see her hands almost instinctually shoot up in the way that she typically casts her liminals before she snatches them back down.
Whoa.
Sticks them in her pocket.
Whoa. What happened? What'd you see?
Nothing.
Lumièra.
Where's the ghost?
Seir
And she
looks
says
at you in
it
disbelief.
breathlessly. She says it so breathlessly.
Seir looks at you in disbelief. You can sow illusions, deceive anybody on Earth when you are in pain. You cannot hide that away from Seir. And he sees that, he looks at you with clear disbelief. Lumièra, is everything alright?
And she once again repeats she's fine. But she looks you directly in the eyes. Her eyes say no. Her eyes say that there's something wrong. Really wrong.
Which hand did you stuff into your pocket, Lumièra?
Both.
Seir eyes the one that is usually gilded gold. And I think his hand instinctually goes towards yours. But he kind of just hovers there for a moment and instead just kind of says really quietly, your eyes will always speak multitudes to him. He hears them louder than your own voice. Don't go too far from me. Okay?
She nods. Just so imperceptibly. You almost can't see it, but you do.
Let's go see about this ghost.
It's over here. You and Lumièra approach the salt circle that Beau has set up in front of this tattered tapestry. And they stand in the center of it, and you see that there are placements around the edges for each one of you. All of Strike Team Nova, Yinghe, and Maverick as well. And they say, as way of explanation, this presence is old, very old. I don't just need you all to be lookouts for me. I need you to help me call it.
How?
Just stand on the places that I've laid out in the circle, and don't break the circle, whatever you do.
Any particular order?
A pause, and then they look at Xainan and say, you to my left. And then they look at Seir, considering, at Mav, at Yinghe, and then linger on Lumièra. You. Referring to you, Lumièra. To my right.
She'll go.
The rest of you can stand where you want.
Whichever spot is closest to Lumièra, because Seir has a bad feeling.
Yeah. You stand next to Lumièra, and Yinghe stands next to you, which leaves Mav standing between Yinghe and Xainan. And Beau in the center, with Xainan on one side of them, Lumièra to the other. They take in a deep breath, and they exhale. And then they speak. Rather, they sing. There is a kind of melody to their words, and there are a kind of words to their melody, but it's neither a song nor really a canticle or a dirge. It's a hymn. A hymn in a language none of you recognize, but it feels old, ancient, and it feels deeply tied to Inferno. And as they start singing this hymn, a tension starts to rise in the air around you. Not just tension, it is a lack of something, a lack of... And then your vampiric senses realize what it is, a lack of heat. You're already so attuned to the cold that you don't notice this cold spot until it's really cold, frigid even. And you see Beau's breath and Mav's breath, the only two people who still breathe, coming out in these cold puffs in front of them. As Beau continues to sing and hum, this place gets rather freezing. And then you all feel something that sounds like a whisper, but not really. Perhaps it's curtains or a flag or hair fluttering and flapping, and then she's there, in the center of the circle, in front of Bo. A young woman, translucent, in a hijab, a dreamy look on her face. She's looking at Bo, through Bo, at the tapestry behind them. And as soon as this ghost appears, all of your devices, if you brought anything electronic or your phones, you feel them like crackle in your pockets. And Bo stops the hymn and fixes their eyes on this ghost. Who are you? The ghost sways on the spot, still looking at the tapestry as though they were just another attendee here at the gallery admiring the art. I don't remember anymore. I was someone, a member of House Lanius, a Shrike, but I don't remember much else beyond that. Shrike. What is your name, Shrike? I don't know. I'm not sure. Oh, so many new friends here. So many eyes on me. But I'm a little shy. I don't like being looked at. It's been a long time since I've been looked at. Maybe I'll just go back home. And they start to fade. Bo reaches out and says, no. Stay. Your name. I need your name. I don't remember. And she continues to start to fade, and Bo's eyes flick over to you, Xainan. Connect with her.
Xainan, when that cold comes over them, he suddenly feels more at ease. This is the closest that he feels to Sing anymore. The last place he ever saw her felt just like this. And that calm, I think, radiates out from him. We'd love to know your name if we could. I'm Xainan.
And the ghost, she flicks her eyes away from the tapestry and at you. The first time she's looked away from this tapestry, she didn't even really look at Bo in the eyes, but her eyes turned to you, those translucent eyes whose colors have long lost their hue. I'm sorry, what was your name again? Sorna?
Xainan visibly winces.
Isha?
Esch. Yes. Those are my parents.
It's nice to meet you, Esch.
It is a pleasure. What are you looking at?
Oh. And her eyes turn back to the tapestry. Cycle? A circle. Something with no beginning and no end. Destiny.
It would certainly help. And Xainan looks from this ghost to the tapestry and then back to Bo, pleading for the name. We would
Xainan.
love to help end this cycle, if possible, for you. Warn you and give you rest.
At that, the ghost perks up, and they return their gaze to you. Give me rest. A funeral?
We need your name first.
My name. A funeral for me. I never had a funeral. I would like a funeral. Aisha would like a funeral.
Pleasure to meet you, Aisha.
Aisha, you did well. And Bo turns their gaze back to the ghost. As soon as they say her name, Aisha, her eyes flick back to Bo, and we see color pour into her irises, brown, as part of her is remembered again. And Bo says, "O spirit, O ghost, O unmourned soul, I call upon you now, and seek to see what you have seen. Heed my song, and claim my heart." Aisha! Aisha's brown eyes widen, wide open for the first time, and their head spins toward Bo in focus, and they fly toward them in vicious, sudden clarity, her loneliness crystallizing into a rare moment of incredible spiritual attunement, and then they fuse. Aisha sinks into Bo. Bo shudders, and the red river rises. It rises around all of you, each and every one, thick and wet, coppery and full of sinew, yet you all remain dry. The water, the blood, rushing through your hair, and yet you breathe. You are here, rooted in Inferno, and you are there in death. Spirits screaming, weeping, singing, wind blowing, water rushing, blood pumping, and Bo in the center of the recluse gallery sways. They almost fall over. Mav shouts, but she doesn't break the circle, and her voice is swallowed by the howling crimson gale, and you all know it. You all know it immediately. It's not enough. Bo's power is not enough to parse through years and centuries of time buried within this ghost, all smashed together and locked away and left to rot and be forgotten. What emotion swells in each of you, starting with Seir?
Fucking fear. He sees the Red River, and everything coalesces in his mind of danger, 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 and a dog howling in the distance. All he hears is danger, 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 as he is consumed by that fear, concern, helplessness in the face of it all, as he kind of goes to yelling towards Bo. Hey, whoa, hang in there, Bo. Come on, tether yourself,
your voice
please.
As well, snatched away as soon as the words leave your mouth, snatched away by this howling gale, spirits swarming around you, blood pulsing. Xainan, what emotion rises in you?
It's this overwhelming sense of clarity. Xainan has been running around Inferno, trying to find something that looks like oblivion to him. And this river, this place of death, that feels like what he's been looking for. And he stands there with his feet rooted like deep vines into the earth.
You stand your ground. The clarity strikes you as clean and singing as a thunderbolt. Lumièra, what rises in you?
I think it's a flurry of fear and immense pain. Just, she feels like she's actually been lit aflame from the inside. So she's horrified, but she's also swaying slightly on her feet, unsteady.
Lumièra, as this maelstrom howls and howls around you, this cyclone of blood and memory and time, Bo's eyes, one gray like their own, the other brown like Aisha's, meet yours. And they see it. Somehow they see the time within you, those clockwork gears bound by cutting red thread, burning and freezing and burning you, that power within you, that inverted sun. And Bo reaches for you, for your soul, for you. Fighting through the river, they lift a shaking, battered hand in your direction, and their mouth forms words you cannot hear, but you hear them anyway. It's you. I need you. And you know what they mean. The clarity of time. The power of chronergy, so strong that fate herself bound it within you to stop it from rewriting her will. The power. Even a hint of it, even a taste of it would be enough for Bo to calm the Red River and sift through Aisha's memories. Lumièra, do you let them choose you?
I think for a second she stares at their hand. On the tip of her mouth, she blurts out before anything else, words also getting swallowed in the storm. I don't do that anymore.
I need you to do that now. I need you.
And I think when that burning becomes too much, I think it almost roils from her core as it launches the top of her body forward, and she reaches out. Almost, was it purposeful or was it unintentional because of the pain? She can't tell, but her hand reaches out and links with theirs anyway.
Bo pulls your hand in, pulls your body in, and lets your mouth fall against their neck. And Z whispers into your ear, drink.
And she's been trying to ignore the smell of the blood that's been dripped over the circle. But now her mouth is hot. Her core burns. And I think before she even realizes it, her fangs distend. And her teeth sink into that artery.
And in this moment, Lumièra, Beauregard Thorn is exactly your blood type, in the same way that Professor Ifueko is. Because they've both chosen you. Right here, right now, you are exactly what Bo needs, and that need and that choice saturates your mouth, your throat, your heart, your soul in a way nothing else ever could. And then you feel Bo's fingers in that embrace sink into your chest, through your chest, through the river, through Inferno, and they strum gently, expertly, those red threads binding your magic. Z is not strong enough to break Fate's seal, not nearly strong enough, not even close. But now that you're feeding on them, bringing them closer to the river, they become closer to you. And those red threads hum. They vibrate. They sing. And it is painful. It is so viciously, utterly, divinely painful. The blood in your mouth begins to taste like nothing, like void, like empty. And then all of you see Ren Shimizu in the Recluse Gallery. No river, no blood, no screaming ghosts, just Ren. A young vampire with medium brown skin, black hair cropped at the chin, sensible loafers, and a plain shirt. They're remarkably average, both in appearance and in presence, but there's something cold about them. Something cunning and hungry and just a touch vicious. They're in the midst of replacing an old plaque with a new one, an utterly routine administrative task. All of you see this from a single fixed point in the Recluse Gallery. That formerly broken, now brand new, but now unbroken, wall next to the tapestry. Well, technically from inside the wall next to the tapestry. For you all are seeing this through Aisha's eyes. This memory, this past. And then you all hear a voice. Ro! Just as you suspected, Ren is playing pretend. Hanging new signage for the upcoming gallery opening like there's nothing wrong at all. But everything's wrong. Everything. How do you make yourself known?
Ro allows the sound of their shoes to announce rare presence. The click-click of Ro's heels as Ray enters the Recluse Gallery and stands there in the entrance for a little bit, observing Ren go through the motions of replacing this plaque, as if this was just another work day and there was nothing unusual about this gesture, about this motion, about Ren working here in the Recluse Gallery for House Thakrar.
Ren definitely hears you approach. You see their ears perk a little, but they don't turn around. They're busy fixated on their task, though they do address you without turning around as you approach. Oh, hi, Ro. Can I help you with something?
Ren, you're just the person I wanted to see.
Oh, great. I was just finishing up here, getting ready for the opening and all that. And Ren straightens up and turns around to face you. Smiles, but doesn't reach their eyes.
Ro regards Ren for a moment. Framed by this large painting behind them, Ren looks small, inconsequential in front of it. And Ro walks up towards Ren and looks at her, and then looks up at the painting behind her, the one that Ren was replacing the plaque for. And without looking at Ren, asks, "What do you think of it? I just got it actually from one of the minor houses."
Oh. And Ren briefly looks back over their shoulder, takes in the entire piece of work with just a quick once-over, and they turn back to you. It's beautiful.
What do you like about it?
The colors, the composition.
And Ro looks back at Ren and says, "I like it too. I think that it has a very focused sense of purpose. It's clear, isn't it?"
Yeah. Yeah, yes. Whatever you say. It's pretty.
It's a bit reductive, Ren, but yes, I suppose it is pretty.
At reductive, they bristle a little. If you hadn't spent years accompanying Ren and Ren accompanying you, you would have missed it, but they bristle. Well, you know, I think sometimes maybe some people overthink what art means. Sometimes a painting is just a painting, you know?
Is that why you paint or make art, Ren? Because it's just a painting?
Well, no, of course not. But I think there are some artists out there, and there are pieces of art out there that isn't, that isn't very thoughtful or good. Not to say that this piece, which you chose, right, isn't good. It's just, it's pretty. That's all, I guess.
And like a spider crawling from the edges of its web slowly towards the center, where it knows its prey lies, Ro gets a little bit closer to Ren and puts on a smile that I'm sure Ren has seen a million times before. Ren knows is practiced, isn't real, is a performance, just like everything else in this house is. And Ray asks, "So why do you do the things that you do, Ren?"
Why do any of us do the things that we do, Ro? To advance in life. To follow our dreams. Even though there might be obstacles to our dreams. And they look at you pointedly.
Sometimes those obstacles are there for a reason.
There for a reason?
To help you
and
grow.
What might that? That's a very interesting way of looking at it, Ro. As if you didn't hold the keys to my position and advancement here in Inferno.
I think you're overstating my level of influence in the house, Ren.
How many times have they cut themselves off as passion, anger, resentment rises. They They put a cap on it. Push it down. Put on that fake smile again. They're not as good at that fake smile as you are. It looks forced. Too forced. How many times have I submitted my portfolio for consideration of the artists program here, and how many times has it been denied? And how long have I worked for House Thakrar?
And there is a frustration that comes over Ro's face. Like there is something that Ro has been trying to communicate with Ren for months, if not years at this point, that she is just not grasping. That Ro can't just... And Ray looks at the painting, doesn't look at Ren, and says, "You're not ready. Not yet. And the truth is that you might never be ready, and there are other things," looking back at Ren, "there are other things, other places, other roles that you can hold in the house, in the arts.
I don't want that, bro!
Train your eye, Ren. Learn to distinguish between a good piece and a bad one. Art is not just art, Ren. Come on, you know that. And you know that if my mother, Willow, had her way, things would be different."
A grim silence for 2 seconds, but it feels like 2 decades as you see Ren's entire emotional journey play out across their face, because they know you're right. Deep down, they know. They just don't really have the eye for it. They've tried, but it's just so forced. Like that smile, it's just so forced. They're trying to force themselves into this path of being an artist. They're trying to grab at opportunities that they're not ready for. And they say to you, "What? So you think that if you put my art up here, that you go to bat for me? What, I just embarrass myself?"
Ren, you might not hold the name Thakrar, but you are still a member of this house. You are my family. And that means something, Ren.
Willow doesn't look like me, like I'm family.
Forget about Willow for a second and just think about me. Ren, I know you might not think it, agree, but what I feel for you is real. It's not something as frivolous and deceitful as love, but you are family. And that means something, Ren.
Oh, just fuck off, Ro.
Ren, I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying.
Fuck off.
Ren.
What are you gonna do? Fire me? I think you and I both know you can't exactly do that. I know a little too much about Thakrar for you to fire me.
And Ro, seeing the opening, gets closer to Ren, uncomfortably close, and looking down at them from their height. And is that what you plan to do with House Lanius? Is that why you are speaking to Tavash?
Shock. Eyes go wide. Too wide for too long before they're able to school that expression. Bite their lip, look down nervously, look back up at you. And then challenge creeps onto their face. What are you gonna do about it? Huh?
Ren.
You don't get your hands dirty, bro.
Ren. It's Lanius. It's Tavash. After After what they did? You would throw all of this away, and for what?
Oh, don't delude yourself, Ro! We were never friends, family? Don't make me laugh. All those pitiful sighs and whimpering looks after Tivash that you kept wearing on your face. Do you know how hard it was to act like I gave a shit? Please! As if someone like you could ever not fuck up a good thing. You're not even supposed to be heir! And you know what? And they close the distance between the two of you. You don't deserve to be heir. Your brother was better than you. And I was lying every time I said otherwise. So go fuck off.
Ren. Blood comes first. And there is a desperate plea disguised as a warning in Ro's words as Ray says that.
I'm not scared of you, Ro. So what? You found out about the Shrikes. I'll quit first thing.
Blood comes first, you know that, Ren.
Ro. Please. I'm not scared of you.
You have a place in this house. Don't throw it away. Remember that blood comes first, Ren.
To you. Not to me.
Then, for this disloyalty, for this treason towards the house, I have to challenge you to a duel. Right here. Right now, Ren.
Oh yeah? Well, I refuse. And you and your crimson tapestry that your ancestor wove can go fuck itself. Over and over and over again.
Duel me, Ren.
I'm not gonna do
Please.
it. The recipient has to accept, and I don't accept, I refuse. There's nothing you can do about me. You can't touch me, Ro. You're gonna let me walk out of the ICMA, and you're never gonna speak about this.
And at that, Ro pushes Ren backwards, up against this painting that she had been working on, with Ro's hand pinning Ren's wrist up against the wall, and pinning Ro's lower body with Ray's own.
Ro, what the fuck are you doing? Fuck off! And for the first time, a bit of fear settles into her eyes. I'm not gonna duel you, Ro. Let me go.
I can't let you go. You're a danger to the house, Ren. You said it yourself, you know too much. You can't just leave.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna duel you.
Well, blood comes first, Ren. And at that, Ro moves swiftly. Their hand that was holding, pinning Ren up against this wall, and slices with a precise speed and strength right at Ren's chest, where their aorta is, piercing through, cracking through their ribs, into their skin, and right into her heart. And Ro pushes themselves up against Ren, up against this wall, their mouth near Ren's ear, as Ray holds Ren there, mercifully allowing Ren to bleed out.
Ren's death throes are anything but pretty. As they are reclined against you, you can feel with every beating of their undead heart, their unlife leach out of them, but they're not quite dead yet. And in this kind of like window, this window of like relaxation, right? Of like of sadness, of grief at this betrayal, at this deep betrayal, Ren lets out a fuck you, and somehow summon the fucking strength to leap up at you. They grab onto your shoulder with one hand and the bottom of your hip with the other, and they throw you against the wall where the painting was, and you completely fucking crash through it. Like, you demolish the wall, the painting is ripped apart, and the two of you crash onto the other side. And the fight between the two of you is brief because Ren is bleeding out and her blood is going everywhere with this fight. You are destroying shit, you're wrecking shit, it gets messy. It is brief, but it is really fucking brutal. And with every blow, every punch that is landed, every bite that is avoided, Ren is just saying over and over again, fuck you fucking piece of shit, Ro! You should have died back then! Shouldn't have been your brother, you should have died, you fucking... And she's going at you.
Throughout this fight, Ro was not fighting back, wasn't pushing back. Ren is bleeding out. Ren is weak. Ren is thrashing about uselessly at this point. It's all futile. Everything is always so futile. And so Ro wasn't fighting back, allowing Ren to throw Rem around, to crash into paintings and sculptures and tear things apart, the wall, the art, the floor, everything. And Ro just took it. Until Ren mentioned their brother, what should have been their death, but wasn't. This second life that Ro didn't ask for, didn't want, but was thrust upon them. And at that, Ro, I think, slumped up against a wall, bleeding slightly, their hair disheveled, clothes torn apart, ripped apart by Ren in this fight, just looks at Ren. Just looks. And there is this sadness, there's this grief, there's this... The feeling that people were looking for in Ro at Ren's funeral every time Ren is mentioned. That feeling that people can't find. It colors Ro's face right now, in this moment.
Ren finally collapses, spent. They're dying. They're going to die. Collapse onto their knees in a puddle of their own blood at your feet. One hand on the ground. Keeping themselves up, looking at you. You're pathetic.
And at that, Ro gets up, looks down at Ren as she takes her dying breaths, and just says, I guess you should have been Alanius all along.
I hope House Lanius burns House Thakrar to the fucking ground. I hope you lose everything and everyone. Your mother. Your sister.
And Ro cuts Ren off. Places a hand on Ren's body, right where the wound is, and crushes Ren.
Gonna die alone. And Ren collapses. The memory ends. The river subsides. The red tides lower, gently, like they're being brought to bed by a lover. And the last of the blood sinks through the floor and out of view. Bo gasps. their neck and torso covered in their own blood, and Mav catches them in her arms as they shake and breathe. As for Lumièra, the pain is too great. It has been too great this entire time, but you held on. You saw, you witnessed, you gave, you were chosen. And now you fall unconscious. Your body
Seir.
collapses.
Seir grabs her.
Yeah, I think you hear Lumièra's like blood-curdling scream as she like reaches at her chest, almost tearing at her clothes before her eyes flutter back and you see her whites and she crumples.
Mira, please! And Seir grabs you and holds you close to him. He skids and slides, breaking the shit out of this salt circle. And he holds you close to him. He holds your chin and your face up towards him. Mira, come on. No. Don't. Look at me, please.
It's
Mira.
okay. And the voice comes from Bo, woozy. Had lost a lot of blood, but they're still conscious. Your friend is okay. She just needs to rest. There is great power, greatness inside of her.
What do you know? Look at her!
So
She
here,
just needs to rest.
look at me. Take a deep breath. You've got her. And Xainan looks to Bo. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you, too. And Lumièra. A kind of bitter smile goes over their face as they kind of rub at those puncture wounds on their neck, which are already sealing up. And you all get the sense that Beauregard Thorn, they are very used to invoking methods that hurt them. They knew that Lumièra would be okay, and they knew that it would hurt her. But as Mav holds them gently, familiarly, like she's very used to holding them in this state as well, they look up warmly at Mav. They've got better coping skills now. What a memory. I think that cleared some things up.
Yeah.
This whole business. Ren Shimizu. Rhododendron Thakrar. The shrikes, the spiders. It's house business. What Rhododendron did, it was justified. Ren Shimizu did them a great wrong and forced them into a corner. Ree tried to give her every window of opportunity to escape, and she refused.
Yeah.
Ree had no other choice.
Can't threaten someone's family like that.
Seir hears that and agrees for the most part, but it's more complicated than that. Who threatened who first? And
You say
I
that
think
out
that Seir, it falls clumsily
Mhm.
out of his mouth. Crimson tapestry, laws, and he's just holding Lumièra so close his hand is still on her cheek, brushing away a stray hair and sweat that might have covered her face. Which betrayal start first? It feels like at every juncture a betrayal, every juncture a forced choice, a forced murder, an assassination, a loss of a brother. This isn't any clearer. Yes, Ro is forced into the corner here, but if you call that a choice, if you call that Ro's firm reply, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Mav, still holding Bo, chimes in. I mean, it's like Aisha said, right? Inferno is a cycle. There's no beginning, there's no end. For as long as I've been here, my entire life, it's just been filled with strife. Vampires at each other's necks all the time, and chief among them Lanius and Thakrar. The spiders and the shrikes, they have bad blood, literally. It's never gonna stop.
What's the right path, Maverick? And Seir, like, looks away from Lumièra for a brief second. And he looks at Xainan, and he looks at Bo, and he looks at Yinghe, but what's the right path?
Sometimes all you have is your family, what you hold. It's the only choice you can make. And behind those words are decades of heartache in Xainan Esch. And he holds those words like the tender hand of oblivion.
Bo says, "The vampires have their houses. The wolves have their scattered packs. We hunters? Wolves call us the stewards that keep the ecosystem in balance. Vampires call us the shears that snip wayward threads of the tapestry. We maintain balance in Inferno. We're called on by the tapestry, by the houses, by the city itself, to seek recompense for ills that go unrectified. So I understand that Ro did what had to be done. I also understand the sacrifices and the costs I would pay to protect those that I keep close." And their eyes fall on Xainan at that. And finally their eyes fall on Seir. And I also understand that there's no right or wrong here. Ever. I feel kind of bad about all of this. Y'all, I'm sorry. This wasn't the memory I wanted us to see. I would hope that at least we'd get some clarity about a good guy and a bad guy.
No.
But
You both made the right choice. Both of you. And Seir is, like, gaze cast down on Lumièra's fluttering eyes. Sorry I snapped.
It's alright. You care about her. I get that. I guess that's all we really have. People we care about. People we love. Oh, God. Ren was really twisting the knife there with that Tavash stuff.
Who's Tavash?
Mav and Bo exchange a long, long look. And at that, Bo straightens up, finally pulls their eyes off of Lumièra this whole time. Lumièra's gently resting form. And then Z clears Z's throat. You really don't know, huh? Everyone in Inferno does, eventually. Though, there's a good reason no one talks about it. Tavash and Ro, well, they were...
in places we shouldn't be, it seems.
And Rhododendron Thakrar walks into the Recluse Gallery. And we're going to end the session there. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's been so good to have you all here for the midpoint episode, where definitely nothing happened. I've been your game master and creative director, Connie Chang, pronouns they, he, and she. I'm going to pass along introductions to our illustrious guest, Hamnah Shahid.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Hamnah. I use any and all pronouns, and I am a TTRPG performer and producer. You can find me all over the internets at Lilith TTRPG, where I talk about all of the different projects I'm a part of. One fun thing is I just recently released a micro zine with Gwendolyn Kelly, Glitchy Vixie. You should go check it out. It was for a game jam, and you should also check out that game jam, actually. I believe it closes in like 5 days or something. So get something in. It's very easy to do. But yeah, I have been Rhododendron Thakrar, who uses they, Ray pronouns, and it's been delightful to give y'all some answers and many more questions tonight. And with that, I will pass things over to Val.
Hi everyone, my name is Valiant Dorian. I use him, his pronouns. You can find me all around the internet, Valiant Dorian or the Auto Spirit Bear. Please enjoy that lovely treasure I just set you on. I've got a bunch of projects coming up soon. They're unannounced. Just check out my socials for them. Also, I also made a new game for a different game jam called Self Assurance. It is a duel between a challenger and an Asura over a deck of cards. It's great. Go check it out. And tonight I had the distinct pleasure of playing Seir. Just let me punch something last name who uses he, they pronouns. And I'm gonna pass it on over to Pop Pop. Old man, take it away.
Oh gosh. Hi everyone, I'm Kai. You can find me all over the internet as a style of Mladris. It has been my sincere pleasure to play Mr. Xainan Esch. And you can find me here doing this. Oh, and you can come catch the finale of the Doomsayers tomorrow that Val and I are both in over on Taino Tales, where a lot more crying will probably ensue. On that note, I'm gonna bounce it on over to Samm.
Hello everyone. I'm Samm Star. I use she, they, and the occasional fae pronouns. You can catch me all across the interwebs at Lust for Life X. I played Lumièra. Baby girl went down bad today. Take us home, boss.
It's me, boss, and I'm taking us home. Thank you all so much for tuning into this deeply feral, once again, episode of the Chaos Protocol. If you enjoyed what you saw here tonight, consider leaving us a positive review, joining the Discord server, or posting about us on social media. Not only does it help our creator brains when we are on the verge of burnout, but it also helps us continue to reach out to sponsors to make this work possible. Next week, February 1st, we will be hosting another community stream to celebrate the multitude of Aquarius birthdays we have on cast. It's party time! In the meantime, stick around for the raid, and we will see you back here next week, same time, same place. Thank you all again so much for tuning into the special midpoint episode. Send our love over to the raid, and journey well, transplanters. Awoo! Howdy, transplanters! You know what time it is. It's sponsor Connie time with a word from Hero Forge. Hero Forge has officially leveled up with kit bashing. When you become a pro member, you can place up to 20 more items anywhere on one of your Blorbos with their own independent scaling, rotation, and movement. You can make your character look exactly as they should, even if the specific clothing or accessory option isn't available at the base level. You just have to get a little creative. And because I love you, transplanters, here's a special sneak peek at a kit-bashed version of Oblivion. Just look at those wings and that base. This would not be possible without the power of kit bashing. The combinations are literally endless, and you can print your kit bashed Blorbos as plastic minis, standees, digital STL files, or even Hero Forge's brand new color statuettes. Color statuettes are twice the size of a regular mini, and just look at this. I mean, look how massive this is, and especially in comparison to a regular mini, you can really get into all the nooks and crannies and details that wouldn't be as apparent on a regular sized mini. Just look at how Oblivion dwarfs Oka here. And also, if you're a GM, consider busting out one of these bad boys during a boss fight to really get your players shaking in their boots. Oblivion agrees. Unlock the true power of Hero Forge with a Hero Forge Pro subscription starting at $3.99 a month. Get in there and start creating at bit.ly/transforge. Now, let's get back to the show. Or more likely, just more of the waiting room. Trust in her will.